Good evening and welcome to the SMRC eSports Summer Cup. Tonight we are coming from Oulton Park, and one of the best circuits in Britain. 12 corners, 2.23 miles, finest leafy countryside. Oulton Park, definitely a fan favourite and a driver favourite. Round one was all about return off the Mac. Stuart McFadden taking all three race wins and a nice little championship lead away from Silverstone National Circuit. But tonight, this is a totally different ball game. Duncan, Vincent, Andy Alston, Pete Butcher and Mo Money, Mo Problem bringing you all the on-screen action in the Sim broadcast commentary box. And well, after a week away from myself, Andy Alston, I'm playing catch-up, I think.
Well, I'll tell you what an opener it was at Silverstone, I have to say. 3 absolutely fantastic races, action-packed from start to finish. And I'll tell you what, these new cars as well, because are much quicker. It's got to speak a lot quicker as well, I think, just to keep up with it. You know, it was like a minute or so for a lap, and the drivers were just absolutely pounding out the laps. Fantastic consistency throughout. And fingers crossed we get more of the same here at Oulton Park. But the man you mentioned, Stuart McFadden, it was a clean sweep. 3 wins, and that is very, very impressive to do that, particularly, of course, with that reverse grid for the final race as well.
Yeah, return of the Mac. It's great to have Stuart McFadden back, but from the chat in Discord and from what drivers have been telling me, he is just a little bit of a little couple of tenths up the road from everybody, Andy.
Certainly seems that way, yeah. And the big thing with Stuart, and a number of drivers commented on this after the opener at Silverstone, it was just, again, that consistency. I think that's probably the strongest aspect of his overall game. You know, you can have drivers who are very quick over one lap, but perhaps struggle to make their way through the field, or they're not too sharp in close combat. But Stuart McFadden, a very, very well-rounded driver, and one that is just capable of time and time again bringing the pace.
And with 3 wins, that puts him top of the championship, ahead of Fraser Williamson and Adam Brown. It's funny how it's the same names at the top, but Matthew McBride, a bit of a new name for us, under the track Scotland Racing banner. Adam and Fiona Kindness there, so it's good to see Matthew McBride up inside the top 5. We've got Jack Ayre, Knockhill's own Scott Smith, Josh Hislop, Michael McPherson, Robert McGregor, a great showing from the MSR driver, and then Russell Wheatley rounds out the top 10. You saw an earlier graphic, it's the championship calendar. We've been at Silverstone round 1, Oulton Park this week, and the 30th of June we head down to Snetterton for the 300 track, and really looking forward to getting into Snetterton as well. It'll be a good track for the TCR. It's very much a touring car based car. And this Audi around Oulton Park tonight, it's something that I'm very excited. I've been away. You know, I was AWOL for the last round. I must apologise. I did have a little listen in when you were commentating, and I thought the racing was fabulous. But after what the guys have been telling me, this will be a good one tonight. But we've talked about the fast man, the turn of the Mac. We should also talk a little bit about real racing here, because 2 of the guys that are in this tonight had their debut at Knockhill Racing Circuit in the SMRC Scottish C1 Cup. We're Jack Ayre and Sam Corson. Now, I've raced for quite a long time, and I know a lot of people who've commentated for a long time, as I have. We were all stunned by Sam Corson and Jack Ayre, guys coming from the sim world into real racing, Andy, keeping their nose clean and battling at the sharp end of racing for the first time ever. Sensational stuff.
Yeah, absolutely tremendous driving from both drivers, you know, and going into the C1 Cup in particular, it's not the easiest. There's lots of cars on that grid, and it's one of those ones as well where qualifying, a bit like this, qualifying is so important. You've got to get a clean lap in there, because otherwise it's very, very difficult to make your way through the pack. But Sam Corson, absolutely tremendous debut, a 3rd and a 2nd place, and do you know what, the moves he pulled off at the hairpin as well, very, very impressive. So he's going to be one to absolutely keep an eye on. But credit to Jack Ayre as well, and again, a very, very impressive debut. Debuts are never easy in any championship, in any level of motorsport, and both of them are great examples of drivers going from virtual to reality, and I've got no doubt that they're both going to go from strength to strength.
No, great to see new blood coming into a sport and doing so well. If you're looking at our screen, which I would imagine you are, you'll notice the eSports Racing Summer Cup logo down the bottom right, and then in the top right you'll notice a new logo. That's because we've got a new partner. Welcome, Reese Motorsport Insurance. It's fabulous to have you guys along supporting the SMRC eSports Summer Cup until the end. So we've also, Andy, we've got a bit of pressure on our shoulders. Not just do we get to call some of the greatest racing and esports online, we've also got to pick a driver of the day. Me and you, Andy, can make somebody's night, or, you know, we'll probably upset another 31 people because that's the way it goes. But yeah, the Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day, another tag that we can add into our kind of bulging sack of goodies.
Yeah, absolutely. Reese have been a tremendous supporter of the SMRC over the years. Last year, of course, we had another eSports driver, Sam Spinell. He was driving in the C1 Cup. Again, did very, very well in his opener, and it was very tricky conditions on that day as well. So it's fantastic to have Reese on board with us. I think there'll be a couple of contenders for driver of the day as well. We had a couple of new drivers, of course, in this Summer Cup. One who did quite well, I felt, in his opener was Matthew McBride, the Track Scotland driver that you mentioned earlier. It was a 6th, an 8th, and a 3rd place finish in the finale. So he's one that's got a little bit of pace about him. 9th in the qualifying order at the moment, with about 4 minutes or so left in this one. But he's one, I think, who could be certainly worth keeping an eye on.
So we're watching the cars go around the circuit just now. Stuart McFadden is the fastest. He's done a 1:28.2. So why don't we jump on board with the man himself and have a look at a lap he has done for us so we can see what it's like from the driver's seat going around Oulton Park. It's a great circuit, very leafy, it's plush suburbs, it's what we like about the British tracks. In the first corner, as always, you go through Old Hall Corner and along the avenue in this car. Keep an eye on the dashboard, 5th gear as we go in towards the right here, then braking through Denton's down to Cascades. They're ever tightening and then it opens on the exit, 4th gear Cascades. Quick shift from McFadden as he comes along Island or Lakeside towards Island Bend. Hairpin, this is the Island circuit, so instead of carrying straight on, which we did in the MX5 series, tight hairpin, get the drive through, use the extra bit of road up over Hilltop down towards Hislops, named after the late great Steve Hislop. It used to be a very fast knickerboot corner, but safety changes over the years after the sad loss of Paul Warwick down there have brought in this chicane, and through we go. And look at this man, he's just pinpoint through here, light work on the steering wheel, almost rotating and steering the car on the throttle, which is a bit of a specialist trait, and if you can manage that in one of these Audi TCR cars, you're going well. Over the top of Clay Hill, heading towards Drew's corner. Big and take a breath here. Let's hear what he does. Turns her in, gets in the power nice and early through before the second apex, out over the curb and underneath the Warwick Bridge as he comes down towards Lodge Corner. This was a one.
Yep, Stuart McFadden there, just coming across the start
27.3 lap.
And here we go, back on track there. We've got just over 2 minutes left in the session, and Stuart McFadden still leading the way with a 1:28.0, 0.3 of a second quicker than the next fastest driver, Fraser Williamson, who's in the pit lane. He's not going to improve. Only a few cars left out there on track with a lap or so left to go. Stuart McFadden, a little dab of the brakes there. He's parked up, he's finished, and Josh Hislop in 3rd, Michael Weddle in 4th. And then it's Michael McPherson rounding out the top 5 at the moment. But let's follow this man, Jack Hare, car number 13, the Rethink Racing driver. 7th place on the grid at the moment. Just run a little bit wide there as he makes his way back up Clay Hill. So that's going to be an off track. That lap won't count, unfortunately. And I suspect with not long left in this session, he won't be able to improve on that time. 9th place at the moment, Robert McGregor. It's a 1:28.7 for him at the moment, the MSR man. Again, another driver who did very well in the opener. A driver that's just seems to be, again, getting better and better as the races go on. Very, very quick driver and one to keep an eye on for sure in this event.
So a 1:28 flat for Stuart McFadden just now, so I think I dropped out of the kind of stream there. But we've seen that onboard lap was a 1:27.3, so McFadden obviously putting in good mileage in these cars. And Andy, have you driven one of these cars? Because we know you have got a bit of a burdening, it's getting better, your iRacing career. Good start still, 100% record?
100% record in the opener, yeah. Won my first race, and then I've done over 50 races since then and not won one. So, yes, not doing too well in that respect. But
sorry
yes,
for bringing it up, buddy.
But got this car, the Audi TCR. I have to say, it is very, very prone to understeer. It's one of those ones where there's a little bit more under the right foot compared to the Mazda MX-5s, of course, but I just feel when you turn in, sometimes it's not the easiest to get the car to bite into the corner. All these drivers, it's worth noting as well, they are running a slightly modified setup from the one that iRacing provide. So there's a couple of tweaks to the Audis for this one, just to get them a little bit happier around some of these tracks. But a very, very tricky car to drive and maximise performance. Stuart McFadden, though, making it look easy with a great pole position time.
Stuart McFadden always makes it look easy, doesn't he? So That's one thing we're going to have to chase tonight. He will be the hare and everybody else will be chasing him along. But he qualifies on pole position for this one, ahead of Fraser Williamson. Josh Hislop and Michael Weddle will be the second row of the grid. Michael McPherson and Adam Brown on row number 3, with Jack Hare and John Higgins a cracking run in qualifying for junior. Robert McGregor, his teammate, just behind him, with Matthew McBride, the Track Scotland driver, in 10th place. Scott Smith and Scott Malcolm, so it's a Scotty squared row there, 11th and 12th, with Rory Bryant, Stuart Wyness, Sam Corson, the revelation in the Scottish C1 Cup Championship, and Andrew McAnally, Dale Smith and Aidan Wilson, 17th and 18th. We just talked you through the grid, and the car's already on it, ready for the word go. Remember, we have the Reese Motorsport Insurance driver. Why not drop a bit of something in the chat? Let us know who you think should be Reese driver of the day, and myself and Andy might take a look at that, and then we might just decide on our own. But Andy, it's certainly something special for us to choose a driver of the day.
Yeah, certainly, and it's a nice thing for the drivers as well, because it's important to that we give this opportunity to give a shout out to drivers. And it doesn't necessarily need to be drivers at the front. It's drivers that can go on and have a very good event here. With so many cars on the grid, we see drivers all the time starting in 22nd, 23rd, whatever, and then they're finishing in the top 10. So this is a great way to recognise the achievements of the drivers throughout the field.
So the clock in the top left corner, is 1:21, 1:22, counting up just now. But here we go, Duncan, Vincent and Andy Alston ready to call race number 1 from Oulton Park. The lights are starting. We've got a full complement of lights here. Who will get the perfect start down towards Old Hall Corner? And will McFadden hold it from Fraser Williamson as they come off the line? Yes, he will. A little bit of pushing further back there. And that was getting very, very tight as they come down in towards turn number 1. Let's hope everybody gets through. And already Stuart McFadden has got that car off the line, and he's starting to put a gap in between himself and Fraser Williamson. The word in the paddock is he's got 3/10 in his pocket over everybody. And we saw that in qualifying. It was only 1/10, but the laps are there for Stuart McFadden, and they're consistent, and they're a lot faster cars to drive than the Global MX-5 as we go along Lakeside. Somebody on the grass further back there. That could have possibly been... No, well, I'll hold that one back. I don't want to put anybody down. Through Island Hairpin, Andy, over the crest at Hilltop, down towards... Oh, and there's somebody. That's Andrew McKinley. And that is a front left wheel off that car. And that won't be going any further. We'll see you, Andrew, for race number 2. Through Hislops they all come. This is where you don't want to clip the tyre barriers as well, Andy. I've been hearing horror stories from people just brushing past a tyre barrier and ripping the whole corner off the car.
Yeah, absolutely. These cars very, very sensitive to damage is one thing. You've got to... go leave a centimetre through at least when you make your way around that chicane. But I have to say, Stuart McFadden, the man at the front, in fact, just going further back, Jack Hare's gone off. Car number 13, got to hold the brakes. Oh, there's further contact. 2 or 3 cars involved in there. That is going to cause absolute carnage for their events. Look at that car. There's no way he's getting back out there. Pure disaster for the Rethink Racing driver.
I wasn't expecting that, and I got just as much of a fright as you. Not a Jack Air kind of thing, that. But as soon as he went back onto the track, he did the right thing. He kept his foot on the brake, I believe. But as soon as he went back on the track, Andy, it was not, it was going to happen. It was kind of hiding to nothing for him. Unfortunately, that car will be fixed in the pits. But Jack Air out of this race as we go on board with John Higgins. On board with Junior, the Audi Sport Customer Racing car. These cars are all TCR cars of the same spec with a slight tweak in the setup, and Junior having a good look at Adam Brown as they come along Lakeside. Onto the brakes they go. Try and make sure that they get the car turned in at the front, because as Andy Alston has said, this car a little bit prone to understeer.
Absolutely is, and it's one of these ones, again, this track and this chicane in particular is one where we may see cars potentially lock up on the brakes, get the car a little bit unsteady as you follow Scott Smith looking to make a move on 8th place man Matthew McBride at the moment. Scott had a very good start as well, I have to say, just got a little bit boxed in. Yeah. These cars are very tricky to get away off the line, but Stuart McFadden, the man at the front, has made that look easy time and time again. We saw that at Silverstone. He just gets away so cleanly, and they're very tricky cars to get right. Looks like Matthew McBride just managing to hold on at the moment as they make their way into Lodge Corner, but 3 minutes or so gone so far in this race and plenty of drama already.
Yeah, I've got to say this out loud. Scott Smith's car reminds me of Paul O'Neill's Egg Astra that he used to race. And the next time you see it, you'll probably remember the Egg-sponsored Astra Coupe. I think it was the Coupe that OE himself raced in the British Touring Car Championship. But McFadden, a 1:26.6, equalled by Fraser Williamson. So McFadden has got a bit of a gap. Josh Hislop also in the 1:26s. 26, yes, you say. Then it drops off a little bit after that. A couple of slow ups for McPherson and Higgins there. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andy. But really, you've got to string these laps together. As Andy mentioned, 3 minutes off the race gone just now as we look at Michael McPherson making his way along towards the hairpin. And who's missing further back down? Sam Corson has no rear wing, Andy Alston. Sam Corson has been in the wall.
Yeah, that's going to really compromise the downforce on that car. Look at it just squirming on the track there as they make their way around the hairpin. He takes the long way round. It looks like car's almost certainly gone into the back of him, and he's dropped down the order. Only a couple of places though. He started this race in 15th place, but again, he's a sitting duck there as he goes into the chicane. There's no way he's going to be able to hold on to any of those positions. But back at the front, it's that man Stuart McFadden. 0.3 of a second gap between him and Fraser Williamson. So Fraser's just staying in the draft here at the moment, and he'll be quite content in there as well, I suspect. And perhaps if he can just stay in there towards the tail end of this race, he might go and make a move within the last couple of laps.
Matthew McBride starting to pull away from Scott Smith now. Scott with the knock-hill badge on the back of his car. But yeah, bit of contact there from the back of Rory Bryant in towards, was that Scott Smith? It was. And then just ahead of them, making a little bit of a mistake, that's John Higgins Jr. But on the Sam Corson front, not only had he lost the back wing, he'd also had quite a lot of front end damage. So whether Sam's actually gone off the road himself or been involved in a front to back to front. Look at this as they go through Old Hall Corner. That is absolutely brilliant as they go along through towards the top of Denton's. 3 wide there, but just managing to all filter back in. Thankfully, we don't want any more damaged cars in this race. McFadden from Williamson and Hislop at the front. 5 minutes off the race gone. Michael Weddle, Flymo, sits in 4th place after a very good SMRC. But look at that up the inside. Just as we change camera angle, we'll get a little look back. It looks like Higgins, Smith and McBride all go in together. And there's a little shuffle on position. It's a little shuffle on position. See Scott Smith side by side with, is that Rory Bryant or is that Matthew McBride? Sorry, down towards the hissy chicane. Up the inside goes Scott Smith. He'll be happy with that one. Good manoeuvre on the inside. And Andy, it looks like you're starting to have to think about manoeuvres. You can't just have a lunge. Scott Smith looked like he planned that at the hairpin for being on the right side of that manoeuvre into Hislops.
Yeah, and there's a kind of similar story coming through into this Summer Cup as what we've seen last time out in the Spring Cup. So we did race there here as well. But in fact, look, in contact, Matthew McBride's been turned round. Matthew McBride been turned round into the gravel trap, and he's going to go tumble well down the order. And, that's been a disastrous lap from him. And I suspect in that in the chicane, in the hairpin, I beg your pardon, he kind of took a bit of a wide outside line, tried to make a lunge, didn't quite stick, and then he was kind of getting boxed in down the straight and compromised towards the rest of that lap. So disaster for him. But back at the front, it's Josh Hislop, hot on the heels of the 2 cars ahead of him, Fraser Williamson and Stuart McFadden, still leading this way. So far with 6 minutes gone in this race as they make their way along the big long straight and then into that tight hairpin. Further back, James McIntosh, one of the new faces, car 436 in this championship. Hot on the heels of Stuart Wyness for the final top 10 spot. So looks like the pack's just starting to spread out a little bit now. Groups of 2, groups of 3 here and there. So it'll be interesting to see how things shape up.
Yeah, a bit of a shame there. Didn't expect that to happen up at Druids, but it's a fast place. If you're going to go missing, it's not the place around Oulton Park you want to go missing. Let's have a little replay if we can. Matthew McBride coming along. This is the kind of shuffle where Scott Smith goes up the inside. Now, was McBride up the inside of Junior? Yeah, outbraked himself there, compromised himself going in there. Junior went back underneath. Good move. And Scott Smith, ever the opportunistic, just put himself on the inside, and that's all he needed to do. Over the top of Hilltop, he was then in the, we're going to say driving seat for the inside of Hislops, and there you go, round through mirror signal manoeuvre. So McBride loses 2 positions, and then unfortunately 2 or 3 corners later, over the crest of the hill at Druids. Let's see if we hang on to this for long enough and catch this replay, because they're going up through Clay Hill, fast part of the track, one line through, you can't really do anything. Did he just drop it himself? I believe he did, and he comes onto the grass on the way in. Yep, back wheel on the grass on the way in, back left, drop it round you go. Andy, he's very lucky he didn't end up in the village just 100 yards from there, because that's a quick place to go off.
No, it absolutely is, and credit to Rory Bryant as well, did well to avoid that accident as well, because again, when cars are turning at that part of the track, you can sometimes, your thinking time's just not there, and before you know it, you're into the side of the car. So Rory, car 27, has managed to escape unharmed, so he's in 9th place at the moment. Back at the front though, Fraser Williamson coming under a little bit of pressure here from Josh Hislop and Michael Weddle as well. Michael Didn't take part in Silverstone, but he's back for this one, 4th place at the moment. But Josh Hislop, again, I wonder if he's one just gradually starting to reel in Fraser Williamson, though, because there's a bit of a gap between Williamson and McFadden. 1.4 seconds is the gap between the two of them at the moment. So Fraser's just, again, starting to come out of the slipstream range, and that, again, is letting him get drawn in gradually to Josh Hislop and then compromising his chances of taking the win in the opener here tonight.
Josh Hislop rides through one of the fastest corners in Britain. Really, it is a great corner. We go back to Aidan Wilson in 17th position. 17th for Aidan. His teammate is in 7th. And, well, a little bit of work to do for the 2nd or 3rd of the MSR drivers as they go over the top of Clay Hill. David Bolton right beside him just now, side by side in towards Druids. Bolton up the inside. Good manoeuvre that. And Aidan Wilson getting bullied out a little bit now further back down. He's got Jonathan Glover in there as well. So David Bolton with a very, very, I'm going to say, ballsy manoeuvre. I don't know if we can say that on here, but we just did as he goes through into Druids, 2 abreast there. We've seen what can go wrong there, Andy, but Bolton takes a position. Glover's now up the inside of Aidan Wilson, so things not quite working for young AJ here in the 3rd of the MSR cars. We've got to say that because Robert McGregor was having a fabulous race as well. But back towards the front, yeah, look at the gap now starting to appear. Stuart McFadden, return off the Mac. We said that. He come to Silverstone. He came, he saw, he conquered. And at the front here, it's a 1.7 second gap now for Stuart McFadden from Fraser Williamson in the Movano Racing car, the 369 grey car. Chiron is kind of same colour scheme, if I'm not mistaken there. Ahead of Josh Hislop. Now, Josh Hislop's holding off Michael Weddle, but all these guys will be sitting there in the car, scratching their head, thinking, how has McFadden got this pace? How does he have a little bit more than we have? As Del Smith at Aidan Wilson. Andy, is Aidan Wilson sporting a bit of damage? Can you see the front of that car? It looks a little bit reshaped, doesn't it?
Yes, it certainly does. It certainly does. It's just a little bit of front end damage towards the front right of that car. Again, that will be costing him going into the corners. He won't have that same level of grip that he's looking for and expecting from this Audi car. And the thing is as well for Aidan is that the cars around him are really making moves. Jonathan Glover, who we mentioned earlier, up 11 places from where he started. So again, with these drivers, when they're driving with their tail up, it's easy to make a move. It feels like it's very straightforward to get the passes done, and Aidan unfortunately is just not managing to make any headway. Back at the front row, Michael Weddle, 4th place car at the moment, car number 7, Rethink Racing driver, just a little bit off the podium places at the moment, a little bit far back from the 2 cars in front, but then further behind, Adam Brown having a really great scrap with Michael McPherson. And Michael's one driver who said in Discord just ahead of this one, he's not had a lot of seat time going into this one, not had the opportunity to do much practice, but it doesn't look like it at the moment. A very, very good race from him so far.
A fast driver in the real world sport. Michael McPherson, an extremely fast single-seater driver, but you're correct. You can't just jump into this. I mean, I would never have a shot at this and just try and expect to be fast. I'd be the guy that's off at turn 1 or making a mess at the start. You've got to get yourself, Andy, as you know, up to speed in the sim. And seat time, that's what you need. That's why there's practice sessions for these guys to get involved in. But we're looking at Scott Smith, and he's just ahead of Rory Bryant. You said credit to Rory Bryant earlier on, and that's not something that gets mentioned very often. And, you know, that's a new phrase to me, but I'm going to hold on to that, and I'm going to let Rory know you said that. Could that be one tick towards the driver of the day? You never know. The Reese Motorsport Insurance driver of the day. As we look at the back of Scott Smith, which is a good view going through Druids, there you can see the Knockhill Racing Circuit logo, which Scott's very proud to carry as he hit the brakes for the last corner here, Lodge corner. It drops mid-corner, then goes over the crest. The car wants to go light there. Now, if it's an understeery kind of wheel-spinny car, that's not going to be a good place for you. And look at Scott Smith through that area. He's very quick. He's managed to be from Rory Bryant and get himself back up towards John Higgins Jr. He's trying to get underneath him, but he just leaves enough room and no more there. If Junior was looking in his mirror, Andy, there would be a whole heap of wincing going on inside that car.
No, absolutely. Scott just thought better of that move at the last moment. And again, we saw in the MX-5s, drivers were trying to make that move into Old Hall Corner. They were perhaps making it stick, but then getting caught into cascades. So it looks like the drivers are just more willing to bide their time in these Audi cars and perhaps looking to try and make a move there into the hairpin. So yeah, it's interesting that a lot of the drivers have had experience in this championship driving around this track before, and they're taking those learnings into this one in the Audi cars.
The comeback for Matthew McBride as he slides past Del Smith going through Denton's into Cascades. Jonathan Glover in the yellow car will be the next one on his radar. Oh, and he disappears and comes back there as we go through the island hairpin. Good move, cuts back towards the inside, and Yeah, I think there will be a bit of blue air inside that car. He'll still be kicking himself after going off at Druids very early in the race, and it was a driver error, and there's no worse thing than doing that. There's nothing, you can't blame anybody else. You can try, but Jonathan Glover not making it easy for Matthew McBride, and why should he? He puts up a good fight going through the Hizzy chicane as we jump back towards Josh Hislop at the front. Hislop all over the back of the Spring Cup champion Fraser Williamson, and Hislop almost looked like he put a couple of wheels in the grass to win there, but just eased the car off that a little bit better. He's unfortunately on the wrong side here, but can he make a big power move, or can he at least force Williamson into trying to defend? And that'll let him get a long lakeside and maybe have a look in towards the island hairpin. And all the time, Flymo hovers in at the back. Michael Weddle can possibly pick up the pieces. They come through the hairpin here. Williamson, though, I've got to see, Andy, a seasoned pro when it comes to driving, maybe a little bit defensively if he needs to. He knows how to do it and keep his speed up.
No, he certainly does. And Josh Hislop was 0.3 of a second quicker on the last lap. But that doesn't matter if the car in front is able just to put that Audi in the right place at the right time. And Fraser Williamson has done that time and time again, not just in this race, but throughout our eSports racing championships. A very, very well-rounded driver is Fraser. And Josh has got his work cut out here if he wants to get second place. And with, again, look at that, just 90 seconds left in this opener. We're just about to come up to the last lap of this race.
Yeah, we're going to get one more lap around the 2.2 mile Oulton Park Island circuit, and we are on board with Josh Hislop. Those green gloves, green boots and green flashes on his TCR Audi car through the last corner. Has he got anything left in the tank for Fraser Williamson, or is it going to be the last step on the podium as we go on towards the last lap here? Back marker staying well out of the way as they should do, which is a good manoeuvre in towards the first corner. And look how much they're flirting with disaster there, right on the white line as they go in. And now it's the last lap, so track limits, they don't care. That's out the window now. Let's see exactly what they've got. And you can see they've both pulled away from Michael Weddle considerably as they go through Cascades and start the charge along towards Lakeside. The ever-disappearing, diminishing figure of Stuart McFadden at the lead in front of everybody. He has owned this race. He's bossed it. He has made everybody not look slow because they were with him at the start, but he has just been so consistent and metronomic, if you would like to think of that, Andy. Back at Scott Smith, though. Scott Smith isn't finished with John Higgins Jr. And what a turnaround this is for John Higgins Jr., Andy. Really, this is a great showing.
Yeah, it'd be a really good drive from John, I have to say. And he'll be more than happy, I suspect, with a 7th place finish. But Scott Smith, one driver who's been on the move and would be, and look at that, I just have to say, Martin Buchan, just a shout out there to that livery. I can't not give a shout out to that livery. Tremendous stuff. Great to see that from Martin Buchan. Superb. And here we go, looking back at the front, it's Stuart McFadden making his way into the last corner. It's been another well-rounded drive from the Pure Sims man. 3.7 seconds is the gap between him and Fraser Williamson. McFadden made it look easy, some great laps throughout, and he wins the opener here at Oulton Park. Fraser Williamson second, Josh Hislop rounding out the podium there. It's Michael Weddle taking 4th place in this race. Adam Brown in 5th, followed by Michael McPherson, John Higgins and Scott Smith. Just about to come over the line there. He's been beaten there towards the end, but some great drama throughout the top 10 there. Really good start to this event, and let's keep our fingers crossed for another 2 good races coming up soon.
Yeah, good one to watch that. Great finish towards the end, and yes, sir, Martin Buchan, you can boogie, and we are boogieing with you. Let's not mention the last game against the Czech Republic, and let's look forward to the win that we're going to get on Friday night down south, Andy, but we'll not mention that right now in the Sim Broadcasts Commentary Box, live streaming partner for your sim racing event, because we do know Pete and Mo Money, Mo Problem are both down south, and we'll let that one go. But the Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day, well, a tip so far, I have to put a bit of a tick in the box for John Higgins there after John's pretty dreadful run, and I have to say that in the MX-5, it didn't work for him. It just didn't work to come back straight away, and that's the first time I've seen him. He's inside the top 10. He'll be happy with that. Andy, anybody jumping out for you there?
A couple of other drivers making move. Martin Buchan with that fantastic livery, up 14 places from where he started. Very, very good drive from him. James McIntosh rounding out the top 10. Started this race in 23rd place. So again, another good start to him. I think there's a number of drivers worth keeping an eye out here, I have to say. It'll be good to see how things unfold in this second race coming up very soon.
So cars already starting to line up on the grid. Just a couple of minutes and we'll be going, but the grid is the finishing order from race number 1. which sees McFadden and Williamson again on that front row. But let's have a little look further back down, because we need to keep our eye on Matthew McBride, who went off at Druids. He starts, where is he's 18th in this one. So what can Matthew McBride do? Can he come through and charge through? A spirited drive from Jonathan Glover and Del Smith as well. Sam Corson down in 23rd. He will be coming back, as will the one and only Mr. Jack Ayre. What can these big guys do in race number 2?
Yeah, Jack Ayre starting this race from the last row on the grid, but it's been a recurring theme time and time again. He makes his way through the pack so well. So definitely one to keep an eye on.
Lights on, here we go. Let's get all the lights on at Oulton Park for race 2. And it's a very quick turnaround. No wheel spin from anybody, and down towards the first corner, Old Hall they go. And once again, it's a great start for McFadden. We look for any shenanigans further back in the pack, but everybody behaving themselves and not very much crash bang wallop, which we like to see along through Cascades. They come now. McFadden, the man on the road in the Pure Sims Racing Audi TCR car, using as much road as he can on the exit, and everybody else just filtering through. There's a paint job you're not going to forget, Sean Doby. That's a migraine coming in a couple of minutes for us, Andy, as we head along Lakeside towards the island hairpin. Keep your eyes on that red car as well. As Bolton all round goes Bryant, and he's caught by Sam Corson, was that? And it's all gone wrong at the island hairpin. Bryant, Rory being one of them, and then people, yes, that's Sam Corson in the middle, David Bolton in there as well. Sam Corson goes front to back into somebody. And that was, I would love to see a replay from the blimp if we can. That was just, Andy, that was just pure messy, as they would say, from your neck of the woods.
No, absolutely.
Let's have a look at the replay, sorry, Andy, let's have a look at the replay. Watch for Rory Bryant. He is the car that we're looking at just now. Bryant goes round, tries to go round, and Rory actually tried to avoid an accident there and turned himself round, and then, well, yeah, there was another accident happening on the way in towards the corner. And they all got involved in that. But, I mean, fair play to Rory Bryant. He did try and, Andy, turn away from rear-ending somebody there, but ultimately caused a spin.
Yeah, he did. There was just not much he could do, and it's the worst possible place for something to go wrong. I felt really sorry for Nathan Lamb there, I have to say, because he was trying to throw that car around outside, had nowhere to go, and that was it, just straight into the back of his Rethink Racing driver teammate. Not a lot he could do about that one at all. But again, the thing is, a minute into this race, and that's a number of drivers in the pit lane, and yeah, their races are really compromised. But of course, you can pick up points from 25th place. So it's not all quite over just yet, but very disappointing all the same.
So there was 2 accidents here. There was the Rory Bryant spin, and then something happened round about here. Somebody doing a lunge up the inside, but yeah, it happens. It's TCR Racing. Back at the front, no such mean feats for these guys here. Josh Hislop has lost a place. We've got Flymo up into 3rd place now, so there's a role reversal. What will Hislop do? Will he come back at him? Clearly he will. But McFadden, Williamson and Weddle are the top 3, with Hislop, Brown, McPherson, Higgins and Smith down 7th and 8th. So again, everybody round about their pecking order of where they should be. Let's look further down. Andy, Jack Ayre 18th place just now. Matthew McBride 14th. And let's not talk about Sam Corson. He has had an event that you'll probably, Andy, I think, want to forget already. Oh, Jack Ayre almost loses it. That was what we would call lift-off oversteer there for Jack Ayre. Looked like he was on the power, turned and then lift-off. Round comes the back end. It can be used as an effective tool for an understeering rear-wheel drive car, but as you can see that ultimately cost Jack Ayre just that little bit of time, Andy.
Yeah, it did. He's had a very good couple of laps, so I have to up 13 places. And again, he'd have been one of the main winners from that drama. The hairpin just managed to make his way through that, no problem. A little bit of contact there, almost between Michael McPherson and Adam Brown there. Adam Brown just lives to fight another day. You can use that little bit of runoff on the outside. The car won't get loose. You can manage to survive that one. So a little bit of drama there between the pair of them, though, and it's Scott Smith, car number 82, 8th place at the moment in this race. One driver again has had a good solid couple of laps so far, but the fastest man on the track is in fact Fraser Williamson. Last time out there's not a lot between them, I have to say. Both are 28.4, but Fraser Williamson marginally quicker, and still very much in that slipstream. Around 0.6 of a second is the gap between the front two.
Matthew McBride goes underneath a couple of cars at hairpin, and Matthew McBride is on the comeback here. He's in 14th just now. Jack Ayre in 17th, so Jack trying to get the hammer down as well. And Coming up on, is that Martin Buchan? And yes, sir, I can boogie in that car. I do like that. Yeah, he's definitely fallen into the bag of the Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day, purely for the paint job, as Andy Alston said. Nothing to do with his results. But I'll say Martin Buchan, 12th place. He's doing a good show for this in the TCR. But yes, look at this. Williamson is starting to catch McFadden. It's 0.4 of a second now. But Weddle coming under increasing pressure from the big, angry, aggressive, anything but Josh Hislop. Hislop's got a good run through Deer Leap there. He's trying to go up the inside. Weddle will not give this up, though. The first corner, as Andy Alston rightfully pointed out last time round, it's where you can kind of run a little bit wide in the exit of the corner. You can get away with using that extra bit of grass, although I would imagine the race direction, which is Steve Burns, will possibly look at too much track limits and give you a slap on the wrist. Was that a little love tap from Josh towards the back of Flymo there, Andy?
Certainly looked close, I have to say, just as they're making their way around Cascades there. Josh having a little bit of a look up the inside into the airpin again, thinks better of. Again, that's going to compromise his exit here, though, and allow Michael just to pull off as they make their way down Hilltop and then into Hislops. And yeah, it's been a good scrap between those two, but Michael just managing to come through that unscathed. Again, we're talking liveries. I have to like that one from Michael Weddle. A lot of inspiration there from his Mini Cooper Cup car there in this one. Looks very, very smart indeed. And he's another driver, did very well at the opener in the SMRC Championships. 2 wins and a 3rd place finish in the reverse grid as well. So very, very good start to his campaign in the real world. So yeah, you'll be happy with that, I think, with the podium so far. 10 minutes or so left to go in this race, so but still very much all to play for.
Okay, Scott Smith's going to have to dispense with Junior here, and John Higgins Senior, he won't be like getting called Senior, and he won't like that comment I just made, but Scott Smith is getting held up now by Junior. He's all over the back of him like a bit of a nasty rash, and if Scott wants to do it, rather never, because he's got incoming cars behind him carrying a good bit of speed. We've got James McIntosh and Mark Heron, who we know from previous Cups as well. So we know the calibre of the drivers that are catching Scott Smith. Fastest lap of the race last time round out for Stuart McFadden. Andy, was that 1:27 he's just dropped into?
Yeah, very, very quick lap there last time out from Stuart McFadden. That brings the gap between him and Fraser Williamson to 0.8 of a second. So Stuart just gradually now beginning to up the pace here. And we saw that in the opener as well. It was just fastest lap after fastest lap in the midway phase of this race. So let's see if Fraser can just manage to hold on and then perhaps make a little bit of a move. But I think in that situation, when we're saying that Stuart, we know how quick Stuart is. When you're Fraser Williamson there, it's just all about making yourself big in the rear view mirror. Just, again, make it look like you're going to maybe have a move. Get Stuart thinking, get him kind of wondering if you're going to make a little bit of a lunge, and then you can maybe begin to get inside his head and distract him.
Give him the fear. That's what you mean there. You give him the fear, make him look in the mirror and try and sell him the dummy. But McFadden pulling away at the front from Williamson.
Again, 0.8 of a second, the gap between the two of them. But 3rd place man, Michael Weddle there at the moment, still coming under pressure from Josh Hislop, car number 23.
A lap car coming up to get lapped.
Yep, certainly looks like there's a couple of back markers getting involved there. Back at the front, Stuart McFadden again. It's going to be another quick lap though, because look at that gap at the top. It's now over 1 second between him and Fraser Williamson. The back marker, the yellow car on the left, getting well out of the way. That's going to allow Fraser Williamson to come through unscathed as well. Michael Weddle coming under a little bit of pressure into Old Hall Corner once again from Josh Hislop, but again managing to just keep him at bay. Scott Smith now looking to have a bit of a move there. Very, very good exit into that corner. Can he make the run on the inside here? In fact, he goes on the outside. A little bit of contact between the two of them into Cascades. Both cars coming through relatively unscathed. A flash of the lights there from Scott Smith. He's not happy about that move at all. And will he perhaps make a little bit of a lunge into the hairpin here? And John Higgins Jr. thinks better of it. Higgins just covers off the inside line there. Very, very good scrap between the pair of them, I have to say.
I like the flashing of the lights after the side-to-side contact through Denton's into Cascades. I'd have a lot more on my mind than flashing the lights. I'd be just trying to hold on. Luckily, both those cars stayed on the track, but we're on board with Smith now. And if anything, that's fired Higgins up, isn't it? It's fired Junior up, and he's really going for it now. The lapped car ahead of them will hopefully be staying out the way, Andy Alston, as he did for the previous set coming through. But as they go up Clay Hill towards Druids, Scott Smith is getting involved in this big battle with John Higgins Jr. and still McIntosh and Heron, the 2 cars behind him just now. I've got to say, this is going to be rostrum or straw bales for these guys. They're not quite on the rostrum, but they're getting involved with each other, and they're getting quite frisky as we see a big bit of defending from Weddle quite early on in towards the last corner, and that is going to hurt him. And here comes Josh Hislop Hislop goes to the outside. That's going to put Weddle on a tight, acute angle here. This could be a manoeuvre for Hislop. Oh, there's almost contact on the way in. But can Josh Hislop hold the speed through the corner? Can he get back on the run along the avenue? But Weddle just positions that car exactly where it needs to be. Side by side through Dentons into Cascades. Both cars learn to live another day, with Adam Brown watching on in the background saying, go, 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 go. Could get another couple of positions here. Then Michael McPherson just behind him in the white and green car. As they go towards Island, though, it's Michael Weddle who manages to hold off. But look at that. They're all starting to home up here. Is Michael Weddle, is his lap time starting to drop off, Andy?
Last time round it was a 1:28.9. Josh Hislop was a 1:28.8. So not a lot between them, and that's considering Weddle is doing a lot of defensive driving, of course. But all the
Scott Smith ahead of Higgins. Sorry.
I was just going to say it's bringing Adam Brown into contention. But look at this. There's again the drama unfolding there. John Higgins, well, again, he thought he was going to have a bite back there coming out of the chicane. Thought better of it again as they make their way up Knickerbrook and into Clay Hill. And it's again Scott Smith, a good performance so far from the Knock Hill man, with just under 5 minutes left to go.
Sorry, Andy, he needs to pull away here. He's made the manoeuvre, and yes, sir, I can boogie along the exit curb. Isn't going to get you anything, Martin Buchan, but he's still on the track, as he's got Sean Dobie alongside. Two rather interesting paint jobs on those Audis going up Clay Hill in towards Druids, but Scott Smith needs to drop the hammer now. He's got ahead of John Higgins. He needs to try and pull away and show the pace that we think he has had as he's been bottled up behind John Higgins, and already he's stretched a bit of a gap there, but I think that's because there was a slight mistake at the last corner by Higgins Jr. Look at that side by side for McIntosh and Heron. James McIntosh just manages to hold off Mark Hearn and runs very wide, so that's going to give Mark Hearn an opportunistic move up the inside into Denton's here as they come into Cascades, but usually the inside holds it. Look at that from Heron. That's fabulous round the outside. Brave as you like, side by side along the lakeside now, and that should put him, no it doesn't. I thought that was going to give him side by side in towards Island Hairpin, but unfortunately for him, not to be. A good run through the corner and loses it on the exit over the crest of the hill. Josh Hislop now still winding himself up behind Michael Weddle and the incoming Adam Brown, which is a frightening thing for anybody when you look in your mirror. Andy Alston coming, another rethink driver heading your way.
No, and a good couple of laps from Adam Brown as well. And again, it's just bringing him right into contention, but it's also bringing Michael McPherson into contention. Now, McPherson's had a relatively quiet race here because of the scrapping going along behind him. That's just allowed him to focus on the track ahead. But we've potentially got a 4-car fight for the final podium place here with a few minutes left to go in this race as we ride on board with Adam Brown. 5th place at the moment, and it looks like Weddle's taking a very defensive inside line here as they make their way into Lodge Corner for the 8th time of asking. And I just wonder if you're Adam Brown, you're just going to be quite content to just sit back, because look at that, both cars going very narrow in here, and it looks like Josh Hislop's looking to try and make a move. He's got the inside line there, and again there's a puff of smoke. There must almost certainly have been contact there, and it's Weddle in the barrier. Michael Weddle's in the barrier, being contact between the two of them. We'll have to get a replay and see what happened there, but that car is all over the place, and let's see what happens.
And Weddle dropped it on it. Was that contact? Oh, maybe some internet thing there. It didn't look like Josh Hislop was close enough. Having said that, Andy, we knew something was going wrong. Broken front right on that car, or front left on that car, but we definitely knew something was wrong there, Andy, because we could see the smoke. We just changed camera angle, and all of a sudden a bit of smoke, but unfortunately for Weddle, that's him out the race.
Is, and it's going to really compromise them, of course, for that final race of the evening. And that was an incident to me that looked like what you would describe as a net code error. And what that means is the cars look like they haven't really touched to us on stream, but in actual fact, the iRacing platform, the way it calibrates both cars when positioning on the track, it's anticipating that there's a collision there, decides that there's been contact, and then throws Michael Weddle off and into the barrier, unfortunately for him. But all the meanwhile, it means that Adam Brown is now in charge in this race. He's now got that final podium place, but you've got Josh Hislop once again hot on his heels. Michael McPherson also coming into contention, the white and green car just at the back of our screen there. But Adam Brown will be more than happy with a final podium position here at the moment. Started this race in 5th place, of course, but again, look at that, not too long left in this one. Probably get time for 2 more laps. Let's see if he can hold on to it. But that man there, Jack Hare, 14th at the moment, really one that's been making moves, as we thought would be the case, and just managed to make the move there on Sean Dobie. So yes, a good race for him so far. Back at the front though, Hislop again beginning to look like he's reeling in Adam Brown. Will he make a move into the hairpin here, I wonder? He's sitting in the draft at the moment. Again, I think he just thought better of that. Michael McPherson coming into contention as well.
With that incident with Weddle and remind me who it was Josh Hislop. So does that come back? Will the race director have a go in that, or what happens with that? Because it didn't look like there was any damage on Josh Hislop's car. Is that something that comes back to you, Andy?
Well, I suppose it will depend on what the drivers do at the end of this race. If Michael maybe decides to put a protest in for that. It was 2 cars coming in side by side out to Oulton Park corner. We've seen it time and time again. It doesn't always end well, unfortunately. And for Weddle, it's resulted in a trip to the tyre wall for him, unfortunately. And he's going to start this race well down.
Not good for Michael Weddle. As we come into the last corner of the circuit with Stuart McFadden, we are going on to our last lap here for race number 2. And well, he's going to make it 2 out of 2. Have we had anybody do 6 in a row? I don't know if that's happened. I don't think it happened the last time I've been commentating in the spin. Let's see how it goes. He's still got to get round the last lap, which is easier said than done. What has Hislop got for Adam Brown, though? Can he get past? He tried to get past Michael Weddle at that corner, and it fired Michael Weddle off with a net code error in towards the tyre barrier, and that's cost Michael Weddle his race. McFadden from Williamson, from Adam Brown and Josh Hislop right underneath the back wing of that car as they go along Lakeside just now. Great shame for him. Scott Smith still in 6th place and really holding his own towards the end of this one as we go into the last half lap of this race, Andy.
Yeah, been a good drive from Scott, up 2 places from where he started, and I think again he'll be more than happy with that one. A little bit of drama midway through the race, but again, it's just part of the skill of these cars is just keeping your nose clean. One man that's certainly done that, of course, is this man at the front, Stuart McFadden. Very, very impressive race from him. 3.3 seconds is the gap between him and Fraser Williamson, and he really is setting the standard, I have to say. But of course, remember, we've got the reverse grid for the finale. So as things stand, it's going to be James McIntosh who starts the final from pole position.
And yeah, that'll be quite interesting. Can McFadden cut through the pack? Will he win 3 out of 3? Who knows? He's through the last corner. He climbs Deer's Leap, and Stuart McFadden can see the checker flag for race number 2. The Pure Sims driver makes it a double here at Oulton Park. 2nd place for 369, the Movano Sims racers, Fraser Williamson. Adam Brown holds on to 3rd place from Josh Hislop. He will be delighted with that podium. Michael McPherson rounds out the top 5. Knockhill's very own Scott Smith comes home in 6th place, ahead of junior John Higgins in 7th. McIntosh, the man who will start the reverse grid race from pole. Ahead of Mark Hearn, Ryan Smith, Matthew McBride, and the rest all coming through. And yes, Martin Buchan, you still can boogie as you come in towards turn number 1. What we need to look further down, though, Jack Eyre, 14th place for Jack Eyre, and McBride got to 11th. But it's been a bit of a disaster for... Well, Rory Bryant had a disaster. Sam Corson continued round to 24th place after that first lap incident at the hairpin.
Yeah, there was a number of drivers compromised, but it's interesting to note that Michael Weddle did go back out on track, and by doing so, he's actually picked up a point in this race. It's the final points
Look
paid
at the
position.
front of Jonathan Glover's car.
Yes, there's a number of cars that are just not looking quite the way they did as they started this race, shall we say. But again, it's touring car racing, isn't it? We're always going to get the elbows out in these cars. That's just part of the racing, I suspect, with these ones. But again, it's been some really, really entertaining driving throughout. A little bit of drama in the hairpin. It's something of a bottleneck, I have to say. Yeah, I'm going to try to be diplomatic.
Yeah, very much. Yeah.
That's this Oulton Park Island circuit. You know, it's just. You go down Lakeside, you're expecting to go on that long sweeping left before you go into the hairpin, but all of a sudden you go, oh no, I've got to put on the brakes. And then that's when drama can absolutely unfold.
Yeah, Reese Motorsport Insurance would love that to have been a real race. There'd be quite a few claims heading their direction, I would imagine. So there we go. That's a good point for us to bring up the driver of the day. And it's it doesn't always have to be the person that wins 3 in a trot, but or two races or whatever. But McFadden he's just a class above the rest. But Jack Eyre made up a huge amount of positions in that. John Higgins Jr. again, another good drive. Scott Smith, huge pressure on Higgins, got past, pulled away. There are a lot of people throwing their hat or their helmet into the ring here to get the Reese Motorsport driver of the day. The first ever one as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely. A number of contenders for it. And if you've got any thoughts on it as well, give us a shout. Put a message in the chat wherever you're watching.
Oh, no, sorry, people watching, yeah.
if you want to as well, by all means, you
I'll
know.
text you.
But yeah, number of candidates here, I have to say, for the driver of the day, and it doesn't, as I say, it doesn't need to always necessarily be someone who's fighting for podiums and everything else. It's just someone who's gone in there, had a steady race, made progress throughout the way, and yeah, I think this is a really good initiative, and great to have Reece Motorsport Insurance on board.
Absolutely. The SMRC eSports Summer Cup. We're at Oulton Park. June 30th, we head down to the Snetterton 300. Then we've got round 4, the Donington National, on July the 14th. Round 5, still to be confirmed. It was meant to be Knockhill, but that hasn't appeared on iRacing as of yet for the 28th of July. And we finish on the 11th of August at the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit for round number 6 of the SMRC eSports Racing Summer Cup, with Sim Broadcast, live streaming partner for your sim racing event, and Reece Motorsport Insurance. You can find us on Facebook, on YouTube, on SMRC Esports, and Sim Broadcasts. Well, they're twitching away in the background. I believe they're twitching, and yes, yeah, absolutely twitching. So there we go. We have got Pete Butcher and Mo Money back at HQ, giving us everything we need at our disposal here for round 2. Andy Alston, we really are, we're spoiled, aren't we, when it comes to all this?
No, it's been fantastic, hasn't it? Some really, really great drama throughout, and yeah, I think this is a championship where we touched on it earlier with Jack Eyre and Sam Cosm. We're seeing drivers who are doing very, very well in our esports racing cups, and then making that transition into real world racing. And that for me sends a really powerful message, not just within the SMRC, but within the wider motorsport community, that gap between virtual and reality is getting thinner and thinner. And the more you put in the seat time in the virtual world, there is absolutely transferable skills when you go out there on track. So hopefully there might be some drivers in here that are competing in the championships, thinking about getting involved. Go up there, book your novice driver training course, and get involved, because this is, you know, if you've got the pace in the virtual world, there's absolutely no reason why you can't go out there and do it in the real world too.
Absolutely. Novice driver training course. The Association of Racing Drivers School will put you on your way, and you could do that at Knockhill. Now, Andy, I've just dropped a thing in the paddock. There we go, on Discord. I don't use it too much, but I've said driver of the day, question mark, who? So give us your thoughts. On you go. Let's not be shy. There are a good few candidates for it so far. The Reece Motorsport driver of the day. And we're just a couple of minutes away from starting race number 3, the reverse, which we will have Matthew McBride. Is it Matthew McBride? Did I get that right? Or who have we got in pole position? We'll find the grid in just a minute. The name's completely slipped my mind. But yeah, we're not far away from the start. Glorious weather at Oulton Park, as ever on iRacing. We're not going to have anything else. And this is Wednesday, the 16th of June. Remember, we are here all the time. The eSports Summer Cup. It's a carry-on from the Spring Cup, which Fraser Williamson won. I've got to say, though, right now, as championships would stand, Andy, you know, if you're a betting man, you'd be nipping down to Ladbrokes and Stuart McFadden.
Yeah, Stuart McFadden has been very, very impressive, and you know, sometimes it's just a combination of the car just suits your particular style, or sometimes you see it with drivers are more comfortable around specific tracks. But I think with McFadden, he just seems at home in this Audi car. He's just managing to maximise performance and then some. And look, we knew he was quick previously in the Lockdown Cup at the start of the year. Didn't manage to see all of them, unfortunately, in the Spring Cup. Great to have him back here in the summer event, and he's absolutely on the pace, I have to say.
Okay, we're just a couple of seconds away from the final race. It's a pick a winner moment, Andy. Can we get McFadden from the reverse grid? Can he come through and win this? It will be impressive if he can. Remember, give us your little heads up for the driver of the day. And what have I started in Discord? It's going crazy now in the background. I should maybe just switch that off and not be looking at that midway through the race. We'll have a look at that come the end of it. But obviously still talking about the little bit of netcode error which caught out Josh Hislop and Michael Weddle at turn 1. But here we go. Reece Motorsport Insurance driver of the day. This is where myself and Andy Alston will be picking it at the end of the final. Oulton Park, where we are in Cheshire. 12 corners, 2.23 miles, Britain's finest. That's what it is. And the cars are starting to line up on the grid. I'm excited for this, Andy, because McFadden is going to have to work for this. He's had to work for them all, but when you start from pole position and win from pole, a different kettle of fish for the young man. I said it was Return of the Mac at the very start when he won everything that could be at Silverstone. Can he do it here? James McIntosh is on pole from Junior. Third place, Scott Smith. Fourth place, we've got Michael McPherson, Hislop and Brown, Williamson and McFadden. There's the big guns. Heron and Smith, McBride and Cameron Ritchie.
Martin Buchan, Jack Hare, Sean Dobie, Dale Smith, Malcolm Glover, McKinley 19th, Lamondon 20th, Proctor, Chalmers, Rory Bryant 23rd, Sam Corson in 24th place.
Yeah, Rory Bryant far down, John Proctor, Jackie Chalmers, Rory Bryant, Sam Corson, Weddle, John Duncan. Let's get the race underway. David Bolton quite far back as well in that bright red car. Let's get the lights underway. Here we go. Race number 3, the reverse grid. McFadden's deep inside the top 10. Full complement of lights, Oulton Park, and away we go. And everybody gets a good start. You've got to think that Higgins and Smith must fancy their chances here as they all tear down towards someone. 3 wide in the battle just behind the leaders, and they managed to all just sneak through. Running wide, was that Junior? No, it was McIntosh. Higgins goes side by side along through Denton's, and Higgins takes the lead in the final race here just now. McIntosh slots into second place, and Scott Smith in third place follows John Higgins Jr. along Lakeside in towards Island Hairpin. Now just hold your braking, boys. Don't get too carried away. Higgins up the inside. A little bit of contact side to side on the way in. And we all just hope that everybody gets through after what we saw in race number 1. Higgins will lead over Hilltop. Scott Smith now alongside James McIntosh. And can he hold this in towards Hislops? I think he can. McIntosh is fighting it out as much as he can. And off goes Josh Hislop. No, it's Michael McPherson, sorry. Michael McPherson drops it on the brakes on the way in towards Hislops. And that ruins his race. But back at the front, it's Higgins and Smith pulling away as they go up towards Clayhill. Replay. Let's have a replay. What's happening? David Bolton a bit wayward further back down there. But what did we miss into Lakeside? Somebody gets it a bit wrong. Now, who was that? Dale Smith. Dale Smith turned around and, yeah, all Weddle's involved in that. Andy Alston. Michael Weddle's day has just not happened, has it?
No, that was no. It's not been a good event for him at all. I'm just wondering how that accident happened. To be honest with you, Duncan, because that was very, very confusing. He just kind of jumped onto the grass and then the car just gone. It just totally went, and then the drama unfolded as a result at the back, and it was a very peculiar incident, that one, and a number of drivers affected and in the pits, unfortunately for them. So it's Lamond, Weddle, Aidan Wilson, Dale Smith, Gary Brown, all having their races affected. So we've got essentially 27 runners at the moment. But back at the front, Stuart McFadden, up 2 places from where he started. In 6th place at the moment is the Pure Sims driver. John Higgins is the race leader, though, of course, making the move into the lead. Scott Smith second. Adam Brown up 3 places from where he started, so he's had a good opening lap. Into 3rd place is the Rethink Racing driver, and James McIntosh 4th place as well. So it's they're all behaving themselves at the front here as we look at that. Scott Smith very, very close behind as they make their way through the chicane here. And a little bit further back, Jack Hare, 10th place, the Rethink Racing driver, car number 13, up 4 places from where he started as well. So there's been a number of drivers making moves in the first few laps.
Yeah, James McIntosh started from pole in 4th place just now. Not too bad. Adam Brown slithered up the inside of him going through the hairpin. But Scott Smith, he needs to calm down a bit of.
Yep, Scott Smith very nearly going wide there, just taking a little bit of the curb and then some more. That second apex, of course, is the crucial one.
Druids there.
Yeah, the second apex curb is the absolutely crucial one, but he took a little bit of the curb and then some more, and the car got very, very light as a result, but just managing to live to fight another day. Fastest man on track at the moment, though, Adam Brown, to 129.1, 0.2 of a second quicker than the next closest cars, which incidentally is the 2 in front of John Higgins and Scott Smith. So Stuart McFadden, though, up into 5th place at the moment. James McIntosh is the next car in front of him. I think he might be a little bit too far behind to make a move into the hairpin this time round, so still want to keep an eye on. Further behind, though, look at that, Michael McPherson making a move there on car 74, which looks like it's got a little bit of damage at the back. That's Scott Malcolm, so again, he'll be feeling the effects of the aero, though. But again, look at that, McFadden's made the move. He's made the move, his Stuart McFadden, up into 4th place. He's got the inside line as they go into the chicane, so if he can get his braking done right here, he should surely have that 4th place position sealed. And look at that, will he have to leave a little bit of racing room? He does indeed for James McIntosh, but he's got the move well done on the exit. Great bit of driving from Stuart McFadden and up into 4th place in this race. Impressive
stuff from McFadden here. He did that perfectly, and he left enough on the table in case there was a comeback in the middle of that chicane. Very, very good, impressive stuff. 4th place. What has he got for Adam Brown and the rest of the guys further up the road? Junior still leads this race at the front, and he's got a couple of tenths over Scott Smith. In turn, Adam Brown right on the back of Scott Smith. And let's see how long it takes Stuart McFadden to reel those 3 guys in at the front. Because we know he has got the pace. There's no doubt about it. We know he's got the pace. Adam Brown, fastest lap of the race, a 128.9 there, 917. Good numbers those. Porsche, if you like your old cars, guys. As we go along through Denton's in towards Cascades, 4 minutes 50 off this race gone. And yeah, it's been a bad day for some of the other big guns. Michael Weather, we should mention, definitely out with this one after that crunching accident. And it's a shame for Mikey because it's just not worked for him in the start of this TCR stuff. There's a little bit of manoeuvring further down there. Josh Hislop covers his inside line for Fraser Williamson. And look at that at the front. Look already, McFadden starting to claw up that gap, catching up towards Adam Brown at the back. And Adam Brown will see this happening. You'll see him coming, Andy, and he'll start to react himself by trying to do something on Scott Smith. So let's see what Smith in turn does to Junior at the front.
Yeah, absolutely. Not a lot between the two of them at the front there. 0.2 of a second is the gap between John Higgins and Scott Smith. Scott Smith just coming under a little bit of pressure, though 3 or 4 cars behind him in a train. There's not much opportunities to make a move, however, around this part of the track. You could throw it up the inside into Lodge Corner, but it's a very, very risky one to do. Maybe a last lap hero move, perhaps. I wouldn't do it at this stage in this race with so much up for grabs. But let's ride on board here with this man, Stuart McFadden, 4th place at the moment. He's just quite content, I suspect, to let those 3 cars scrap because it's letting him gradually come into contention. Looks like there's going to be a move though in the inside. It's Scott Smith on the inside, the red car on the inside. Can he make the move stick though? And he's just run him. He's just run him a little bit wide. I think it was Adam Brown, I beg your pardon, making that move.
I think Scott Smith was actually defensive there, Andy.
Yeah,
sorry, Andy. It looked like Smith was being defensive from Adam Brown more than anything. And Adam Brown with a great manoeuvre in the rethink car round the outside. And here comes the Mac. Stuart McFadden is on a mission. He's looking up the inside. He goes left, he goes right. He doesn't know where to go. Scott Smith holds him off just now, but it's only a matter of time. I've got to see somebody, James McIntosh, coming in extremely quick to the hairpin there. I think Stuart McFadden might have seen that coming in his mirrors and thought, oh dear, here we go. This could be a quarter panel. Over the top of Hilltop, the 4 cars at the front goes almost two groups of 4. I think we can get away with saying that. But McFadden on the back of Scott Smith now. John Higgins Jr. Well, his dad sent me a message saying, put the checkered flag out now. And I can understand why, because Stuart McFadden is coming. He's right on the back of Scott Smith. Scott Smith not going to want to let him pass, but Adam Brown goes up the inside into Druids. Big move from Adam Brown. And can Junior come back on the inside? Yes, he can. Junior throws some brilliant racecraft and he's turned around. He's turned around by Adam Brown. And that was Junior getting, I've got to say, that was unfortunate getting taken out there. No room at the end. Junior's in towards the barriers and that will be race over for him. Andy Alston, what do you see there?
Well, that was just a really, really tight. We just called it the lap before. We didn't think it was a place to make a move, and both cars side by side in there. A very, very high-speed part of this track as well, of course. And it's not gone well at all for John Higgins Jr. Unfortunately, well down the order. But the cars around him have managed to come through unscathed, though. Stuart McFadden, all the meanwhile, into 3rd place now of this race, and he's got the 2 cars in front of them looking to make a move. Just further behind there, Josh Hislop is taking the rally route down the straight and managing to keep that car in a straight line. But then there's contact further ahead. It's Fraser. Oh, dearie me. Fraser at the back there getting involved. And again...
Is that James McIntosh, actually? James McIntosh down the inside, over the grass.
The car has come through unscathed for that one as well. But time and time again, that hairpin is proving to be the scene of so many incidents throughout in this event. But again, let's follow the leaders, and it's Stuart McFadden still in 3rd place in this race. A couple of tenths of a second is the gap ahead from Scott Smith and Adam Brown. 6 minutes or so left to go in this one as well, and still very much all to play for.
And in all that shenanigans, Adam Brown has got Scott Smith. Scott was leading there. It looked like Adam was going to have a go through Old Hall into Cascades, but Scott managed to hold that off. But that's hurt Stuart McFadden, actually. That whole last lap's been a bit crazy. Stuart McFadden did have very much James McIntosh coming down the grass. We had Josh Hislop on the grass along Lakeside as well. Just for about 30 seconds, everybody seemed to completely lose their mind. But back at the front with, as Andy says, 6 minutes off the race to go. We have got McFadden up there inside of Scott Smith. There's contact and around goes Scott Smith. He manages to hold that, actually. Great save from Scott Smith. He's lost all momentum. He needs to try and weave along there to not let anybody pass him, but that's not the type of thing you do. Matthew McBride does come through. Great shame for Scott. Just a little tag in the back quarter from Stuart McFadden. I know Stuart McFadden would have done that deliberately, but that's just how close the racing is here. Tiny little bit of bump and run as we come down towards the island hairpin. Scott Smith, well, he's got the pace, we know that. Can he come back through the field? Can he get a podium out of this? Because, well, as ever, the big names have managed to kind of wiggle their way towards the top. I think that's the right way of saying it. Adam Brown, fastest just now, are in the lead of the race with Stuart McFadden and Fraser Williamson. Andy, it's always the same names that manage to get themselves up towards the top.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, of course, remember that all results are provisional. The drivers can protest if they feel hard done by. So don't be surprised if this man, Stuart McFadden, has a protest coming his way, and that could result in a time penalty for the the Pure Sims driver, I should say. He's got the Rethink Racing man Adam Brown ahead, 0.6 of a second is the gap between them. But we saw it last time in the MX5s at this very corner. In fact, Fraser Williamson, I believe it was Josh Hislop, came into a little bit of contact, but Fraser Williamson ended up with a 30-second time penalty, and that did cost him a lot of it made the final events a little bit more tricky for him, shall we say. He was very impressive in the MX5s, but yes, all results provisional, so we'll wait and see how things unfold.
You're some boy, Andy. I know what you're meaning there, but has anybody mentioned Jack Eyre? Jack Eyre has got himself into 6th place. Now that is a drive of drives for Jack Eyre. He's managed to keep his nose clean, and that's him just at the bottom of our screen there, going along Lakeside towards the hairpin. Definitely he's a Rethink driver. There's a lot of them out there, so you can see myself and Andy sometimes trip ourselves up. But he is a Rethink driver. Car number 13, an unusual number for a race driver to have. In Italy, it's it's not a superstitious number. Anybody else said it's superstitious? But let's concentrate on what's happening at the front. 3/4 of a second is the gap at the front that Adam Brown has over Stuart McFadden, with 4 minutes of this race remaining. Can Adam Brown hold off the Pure Sims racing driver? It's a freight train of nothing but momentum heading his way just now, and that is 53 Stuart McFadden. He wants to make it 6 out of 6. You are guaranteed that's going to go on his mind. Look how quick he is through Druids, Andy, in towards the last corner, Lodge corner. Will he go up the inside? He thinks about it. Oh, it's a manoeuvre up the inside, but Adam Brown covers that one, runs himself a bit wide, and that has put him on the defensive now. Round the outside, a dear leap comes McFadden. It's going to put him on the inside in towards Old Hall Corner. He's just got a tiny overlap, but he will make this work. Through comes McFadden. Adam Brown's not going to make it easy for him. Another tiny rub there. And has McFadden breathed out the throttle pedal there, Andy, just to give a little bit of room back to Adam Brown? I think he did.
Yeah, I suspect he did there as well, and that was a move that all started at Lodge Corner. I think McFadden spooked Brown with that late lunge, and that compromised Brown on exit, allowing McFadden to get the run over the leap and down the start-finish straight. But again, he's just Adam Brown's managing to hold on. Got the inside line here. That's throwing Stuart McFadden out wide and compromising his exit. Of course, he gets the draft down the straight though, so will he make a lunge into his lock chicane? I suspect not, because with a few minutes left in this race, we'll get 2 or 3 laps in. So don't want to necessarily make the move just yet now, considering we've had a little bit of a hairy moment there in the last lap. So we stay on board with Stuart McFadden. Not a lot between them, 0.2 of a second. In fact, 1/10 of a second between him and our race leader Adam Brown, who takes a very defensive line there, initially committing, forcing McFadden out wide. Look at that, there's not a lot between these cars at all. Centimetres, in fact, between the front bumper and the rear bumper of Adam Brown. McFadden going on the inside though, looks like he's going to try and make a move. In fact, with a couple of laps left go in this one, he's just a bit too far back though, however, so Adam Brown's got that move covered. But all the meanwhile, it's bringing Fraser Williamson into contention. Let's ride on board with him now as we make our way along the start finish straight. Williamson darts out to the right, thinks better of it, then comes back into the inside, and that's again trying to unsettle McFadden, and McFadden's made contact. McFadden's made contact with Brown. That brings Fraser Williamson into the lead of this race, and off goes Adam Brown. He's into the grass. In fact, look at that. I think the place has been given back.
Yeah, definitely.
So look at that. Adam Brown into second. McFadden goes into third. So a good bit of sporting driving there from McFadden, just deciding and recognising that I should just drop off. However, he has now got his nose ahead into the hairpin, and there's further contact between these two drivers. A minute or so left in this race. You can tell this is the finale because the gloves are off now. But Fraser Williamson says, thanks very much, I'll disappear into the sunset and take a 1.9 second lead into the bargain.
I can hear Fraser Williamson giggling from here. Can you? Yeah. And I think everybody else can see him smiling inside that car. Adam Brown nudged at the first corner by McFadden, and yeah, nice McFadden to let him past. And then Adam just had a little bump at Stewart at the hairpin there to say, "Oi, that's not on, Sonny." And what can happen on this? I don't think it's going to finish like this, Andy. I'm going to say that right now. This some of these cars aren't making the line. Tell me that. Start up the high ab. Here we go. Fraser Williamson leads onto this, the almost last lap of the race. It will be. McFadden tries to go around the outside of Brown, but that Brown's not going to let that happen. And Matthew McBride looking at a podium here, desperately trying to pick up any pieces. Here comes McFadden. I've got to say, I think he rushed that. McFadden rushed that at the first corner last time round. And was that the checkered flag? It was. It was a checkered flag, Andy. The checkered flag getting waved from the start line, but are we still racing? I think we're still racing. There was a white flag. Sorry, it was a white flag. I forgot we're on iRacing with an American-style white flag thing there. But Fraser Williamson still leads on this last lap. What can McFadden do as they come through Cascades and head along the lakeside towards the island hairpin? Everybody queues up on the inside to try and stop any overtaking. McFadden's not going to go around the outside, that's for sure. He tries to cut through the inside. It gives him a little bump through the apex and heart of the corner, and up over Hilltop they go, down towards the Hizzy chicane. The Reese Motorsport Insurance driver of the day still firmly in the mind of Duncan, Vincent here, and Andy Alston as we go through Hizzy chicane. Adam Brown is positioning himself quickly here. He's managing to do enough just to kill the momentum and then get good exit. Look at the exit he gets from the Hizzy chicane as he comes up over the crest of Clay Hill towards Druids. Andy Alston, it's now or never for McFadden, and I got to say, it looks like never.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit too far back as the Pure Sims driver, unless Adam Brown has a little bit of a moment here. He does look a little bit slow around those two corners, I have to say. That might well bring McFadden in here for a little bit of a lunge, a couple of tenths of a second. But again, he's got to think points in the championship. In fact, he does go for the lunge. He does go for the lunge to Stuart McFadden, but he doesn't make it stick. And all the meanwhile, the Mervano Sim Racing man, Fraser Williamson, says, "Thank you very much. I'll take the final win." And wow, that was absolute drama. Adam Brown holding on to second place, further drama behind Jack Hare going out in style there with him. A dramatic finish. But wow, that was absolutely phenomenal stuff there. So it's Williamson from Brown, McFadden rounding out the podium, and it's Matthew McBride in fourth, Scott Smith in fifth place.
Okay, Andy. Reese Motorsport Insurance driver of the day. Jack Hare will get it for that finishing move there, but unfortunately it was past the checkered flag, so it doesn't actually count towards the driver of the day. Nice going though, Jack. Andy, have you got any thoughts? For me, there's quite a few people that do stand out in that last race, but let's hear what you're thinking about first.
Yeah, there's a number of contenders, as you say. I have to say Adam Brown's up there. I think third place in race 2 and second in the finale there. It was a great bit of scrapping as well. But I think when you're fighting wheel to wheel as you are like that, the key thing is about having respect for your opponents in it and just knowing when to sit off and knowing when to leave a bit of racing room. It was really, really tough fighting, but it was good to watch. And I think Adam Brown for me is certainly a contender for driver of the day.
I'm looking towards somebody further a little bit down in 8th place here, and I'm surprised that he can boogie. Martin Buchan gets himself in 8th place in 666. Good number, great paint job, but I'm impressed with that. It's the first time I've seen Martin up there. Jack Hare made up 21 places, and that's a good going for Jack, but it didn't work out early doors for him. So I think we do need to flip a coin here. There's a virtual. We'll get this virtual 1 pence piece here, Andy, and there we go. Flip that, but. You know what? I'm actually going to agree with you. I think the first ever Reese Motorsport Insurance driver day needs to go to Adam Brown. He's been pretty sensational all the way through this. He did get contact. He didn't give up. He got pushed wide. He got let back past, and he's kept himself in the mix, Andy, the entire way through this round at Oulton Park.
Yeah, definitely, and it's very good points in the championship for him in the bag, because he went into this event third in the standings on 65 points. So it's been a good haul for the Rethink Racing driver. I have to say though, Fraser Williamson is going to be very, very happy with that win there in the final race, because we know how quick Stuart McFadden is, but to go and take 35 points there would be very, very impressive. Let's get a slow-mo on this one and the absolute drama that unfolded, I have to say.
That was McIntosh up the inside. If I'm not mistaken, McIntosh up the inside, was it? And then he gets turned around by Josh Hislop after having a good old shot at the back of Stuart McFadden. And yeah, that's when it all went horribly, horribly wrong for quite a few drivers. And there was another one of those later on in the race, if I'm not mistaken. But we have got a whole list of drivers in our virtual waiting room. So, Andy, is this the point where we will head over to the waiting room and we'll pick up who exactly we fancy? So, into our Discord waiting room, I think it's only right that we get Stuart McFadden, winner of 2 races, and let's find out what happened in the last race for young Stuart. So, return of the Mac, 3 race wins at Silverstone National, and Stuart, it was looking good for 3 race wins there, but it just didn't work for you in race number 3. Talk us through, first of all, what happened at the first corner. Looked like you went in, bit of contact, and that was ultimately it.
Yeah, that's completely my bad. I thought there's no excuses. I just braked too late. Put my hands up. I'm genuinely really, really sorry to Adam. Because I met him a few weeks ago at Knock Killings. A genuine really nice guy, and I feel so bad. And I've ruined both of our races. Fraser kind of not looked into it, but he got the easy way to get past us both. But yeah, Adam, if you're watching, I am sincerely very, very sorry, because it was genuinely my fault, and I feel so bad.
Have you got an apology for Scott Smith as well? We've just seen the replay of Scott Smith and you coming together as well there. Sorry, Stuart.
I don't. I think that was just a racing incident. I went for the move and then he cut across my nose when I was there. On my telemetry, you'll see that I can't. My brake pedal doesn't go any further, which is probably a bad thing. Because it would just drive the car forward, but I generally couldn't have done anything else to avoid that incident. I was there.
Okay. It sounds like I was giving you a hard time there. I was trying to do that with tongue in cheek. I sound like a horrible person now, but you've been amazing in this championship. 5 wins on the trot is something. What is it with you in this TCR car? Because my good friend Scott Smith did say, "Listen, this guy he's unbeatable almost in this car." What is it that you gel with in the car?
I'm not really too sure. I think with the Mazda, I wasn't really that comfortable in the Mazda. I didn't feel comfortable at all, but somehow I was still managing to bring it to lap time. Whereas this, I can drive it the way I want to drive it, which is obviously a really, really big thing. So I can trail brake, I can take the brakes far into the corner and just slam on the throttle. And I can use I like the rear moving about a bit, which obviously with it being front wheel drive is a wee bit. Obviously, having a rear wheel drive car moving about a bit can kind of be a bit dangerous sometimes. But I think it's just because it's front wheel drive. I just absolutely love driving the car. Like, it's just a best car in iRacing.
Sure, you're very, very quick off the line as well. Is one thing I've noticed. We saw it in Silverstone, and it was the same here again at Oulton Park. Is that something you've been working on, perhaps, or is it just something that's just clicking with you in the car?
There's a little trick you can do. That's fully legal. It's fully legal. But I'm not gonna let that cat out of the bag. I'll let everyone else figure that
out. Yeah, PM me later on, pal. Yeah, that's what you can do. Stuart, thank.
What was that, Duncan?
Great stuff. Yeah, Stuart, we're just saying there that there's always little ways to get.
Oh, I think I dropped out there. My bad. Stuart McFadden, thank you very much. We'll get Adam Brown in now. If you guys can
formally apologise in the podcast?
Oh, Adam and Stuart in the same room. Have we got boxing gloves? Adam, can you hear him?
I'm so very sorry. I'm honestly I feel so bad. Lack of judgment from me. You don't have absolutely phenomenal race, absolutely phenomenal defending. It was my bad that took you off, so that's why I slowed down to let you past. So yeah, absolutely great racing after it. But it's a shame it couldn't be for the lead instead of second.
I mean, you did more than most people would. Yeah, let me back past. So I think it's fair enough. But if it was for the win, that would have been so much better.
I know, man. I know. Don't tell me about it. But good luck in the next one. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you, Stuart McFadden. I don't know about you, Andy Alston, but I feel like we're bringing people together. I feel like a bit like Steve Wright's Sunday Love Song here. This is brilliant. So, Adam, okay, you've had a formal apology from Stuart McFadden there, and, you know, fair play to the young man. He gave you the place back. He did formally apologise, but you are our Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day, chosen by myself and Andy Alston. I do hope you enjoy that. We think you've been sensational through the whole Oulton Park, so congratulations on being the first winner of that.
Wow, yeah, that's a bit of an honour. The first one. Aye, I mean, I think it was a really strong round from me. I don't think it's didn't maybe have the best result in race one, but you know, I kept at it, and I didn't really make any mistakes. So I'm really happy with myself.
Adam, it's one as well. Well, again, it's hard to believe that we are approaching the midway point in this championship. Up next, we've got Snetterton round 3. Is that a track that you're looking forward to going to?
Well, I've barely done any racing around Snetterton. It's definitely the first time I'm going to be doing any practice at it. So it's going to be an interesting one. I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to it, because I know I'm probably going to be a bit slower, but I'm certainly, you know, the new track's going to be a challenge, and I'm quite excited.
And you've had plenty of seat time in this Audi car now. Talk us through the differences between this one and the MX-5s that we're so familiar with seeing. Of course, they're much quicker and there's a good bit more aero, but they're a very different car to drive as well.
Yeah, the MX-5, you can be super aggressive with it, whereas this thing, you've got to be really patient. You've got the same kind of draft stuff going on. You know, it's still really close racing, but you have to be really much more sort of calculated about it, and instead of, you know, pedal to the metal.
Congratulations, Adam, our Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day, the first one for the SMRC eSports Racing Summer Cup. Congratulations, and we'll look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks, pal.
Thank you very much.
No problem. So we'll let him and Stuart McFadden go and get involved in a deep PM loving after that one. Who have I got? Scott Smith, I think, coming in the room now. Is that he next on the list? Scott Smith with GB next to his name. Just so we all know that he's from Great Britain. Scotty, what a great run for you there, pal. Your car looks like an ex-Paul O'Neill egg Astra. I like that. That's 10 out of 10 in my book. But really, you're sensational here tonight. Congratulations. You were one of the guys who was almost on the list as well for winning the Reese Motorsport Driver of the Day.
Thank you. Cheers, Dunk. Yeah, been a good round of carnage, should I say. And I really enjoyed that, mate. That's what touring cars are all about.
And when you got yourself into the lead, were you chuckling at that, or were you thinking, right, okay, got to focus here?
Yeah, my thoughts on that were I hadn't done it soon enough. I should have got by a wee bit quicker. I had absolutely great battles throughout this round with John Higgins. Absolutely fantastic side-to-side stuff. And John, I just couldn't find a way around him. He was just covering every place, and I just couldn't make anything work. So if I get by him a bit sooner in race 3, I could maybe capitalise a bit more, but I get caught up. And obviously, with the quicker guys coming through, your Stuart McFadden and Adam, it's tough to keep concentration going.
Did you see the John Higgins incident as it come on the exit of Druids? Were you behind that when it went wrong?
I never saw it, mate, no. I think I was ahead at that point.
All right, okay. I like you're staying impartial with that one. But no, listen, congratulations. It's been we've been fabulous watching you tonight and commenting on you, and thank you very much for popping in the box. We'll let you get on your way because we've got a big list of people here tonight, Scott. So thanks very much.
See you later.
Okay, Andy Alston. Next, I think Fraser Williamson, race 3 winner. It's only right we get him in.
Yes, absolutely. And Fraser, I suspect 2 seconds and a first, you'll be more than happy with how Oulton Park's gone.
Yeah, considering it's TCR and I still feel incredibly uncomfortable, it's more than what I could have hoped for, to be honest. The goals every week's 2 podiums and see what happens in the reverse, and well, that's as good as it gets for me.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, the drama unfolds, you've got to be there to pick up the pieces, and you done just that.
Yeah, it's just I couldn't pass anyone the same way Stuart could through the reverse grid. I just can't generate like a run, any speed over anyone on exit, so I was kind of hoping for carnage, and it came.
Do you feel slightly more comfortable in this car now that we've had a little bit more seat time, or is it just a case of you're looking forward to the end of this Summer Cup more than anything?
I feel as comfortable as I'm ever going to feel on it. That doesn't mean much. It's not to a point where like I can't get around the track, obviously, but it's I just don't feel 100% in traffic with it. It's obviously I don't want to rush the Summer Cup away. Still chances to gain points and have a good season and learn the car slightly more. But yeah, as soon as we can get out of this and into a proper race car, I'll be happier.
Back in an MX5, maybe, where you could be defending champion once again. Was it hard to come into this after winning the MX5 championship and come into this being the kind of incoming champion?
I don't see this as a follow on from the MX5s, hence why there's no number 1 on the car, nothing along those lines. I see this as its separate own TCR, as a standalone thing to the MX5s.
Yeah.
I'll see the Open Wheel one as a standalone. It just so happens that the points goes across all 3. I know in TCR touring cars, it's something I've never raced before, up against people that actually understand front wheel drive cars and the racing. So I'm just here to collect points and hopefully still be in a chance for come the Open Wheel.
Well, for a man that doesn't like them, 2 seconds in the first, kudos, young man. Congratulations. Thanks for popping into the broadcast channel. We'll catch up with you in a couple of weeks' time when we go to Snetterton, I think it is. I've forgotten already where we're going to, but thanks very much, Fraser.
Think so. Yep, thank you.
Cheers, Fraser. Okay, looking at this, I'd like to speak to Michael Weddle and see if we could get him in the box. And, Flymo was hovering about the top 3, top 4 all the time. And then, Michael, it's not often we chat to you and say, well, that was a disaster, wasn't it?
Pretty much, I think. I'll just want to say straight away that the contact with Josh wasn't his fault at all. It's like iRacing did iRacing things, and you can see it from the image I posted about cards with space. It's just one of those things. Unfortunately, just got to get on with it. But no, got to just deal with it.
It's one of these things, isn't it? It's racing, and when you went into the wall, obviously, did you know the car was broken straight away, or was it like straight into sort of like mini mode? I'll get this back out. We're on our way. We'll get going.
Straight into mini mode, try and get it fine again. But as soon as it went onto the track, I was like 180 degrees to get the thing straight, and then I realised the front left had just disconnected itself. So just unfortunate, really.
Michael, a great start to your Mini Cooper Cup campaign as well. We must be absolutely delighted with how that's gone.
Yeah, if only I could replicate that. I mean, Stuart is absolutely flying in this. I mean, no one can get anywhere near him. I mean, the boy is on a different planet compared to everyone else, so it's good to see. But yeah, if I had that pace that I have in the Mini in this, then I would be quite happy. But yeah, I'm nowhere near the pace like that.
He's got a special little tweak of the week that he almost alluded to, but he's going to keep that close to his chest. Do you have any idea what he's got that he's maybe doing? He says it's legal.
I might just have to ban him from the championship if he doesn't tell me.
That's a great thing about being the moderator or the administrator. Okay, exactly. McFadden, you're banned. Listen, thank you very much for popping in, Michael. No, it must be difficult in these circumstances. We'll catch up with you later.
It is what it is. Cheers, guys.
Thank you very much. Away goes Flymo. He takes it in good jest, but yeah, I mean, even he's saying that Stuart McFadden is flying, and he is. Okay, we're almost at 8:30. Let's get Jack Eyre in, and then we'll probably call it a night of that. We thank everybody else who has come into the waiting room, but Jack Eyre, another one where it's like, I don't normally say, Jack, that was a bit of a disaster. It just didn't work tonight, but what a comeback drive. The positions you got in that last race, Mo will tell me in my ear in just a minute. I think. Oh, sorry, Jack. Yeah. Can you hear me, Jack? I'm back.
I can. Hi.
Yeah, sorry, Andy. Sorry, everybody. It's not just some drivers that are having connection issues tonight. I need to ask you, Jack, that last race, I think Mo told me in my ears it was 14 positions that you made up. It was sensational to come through the field like that. 21 positions. But it's not something you want to be doing, really, is it? You want to be at the front and on the way all the time.
Yeah, it's a shame that when I pass cars, I'm sort of recovering the whole round, so to speak. And it's a shame that, what happened in race 1 happened, but that's entirely down to my left foot. I think I don't really know if I stamped on the brake pedal, but the car certainly got unsettled and the rear went in the opposite direction than I wanted it to. So, yeah, and then I got a tread block on the grass and was a passenger. It's just a shame that I came to a standstill in the middle of the track. If I'd have known I'd have been that close, I'd have let the brakes off a bit. But I think no matter what I would have done, I would have got hit there. But to come from 31st, I think it was in race 2, gained a couple positions, but there's another lonely race again, just sort of sat on my own, not really happy with the pace. But the final race, I don't know what happened. It just things started going my way, I was able to have a couple of quick guys ahead of me to sort of use them as a reference as well, because they're definitely needed in cars like this, at least as far as I'm concerned, because my consistency is not where I want it to be. But yeah, I mean, all in all, a decent round. It's just a shame that all the overtakes are sort of like damage control and it's not moving forward, it's recovering.
Jack, it was great to see you out there in the C1 Cup there as well, making your debut. Tell us a little bit about that experience and how beneficial it is to be doing so much sim racing and taking that into the real world.
Well, it's definitely set me up in terms of racecraft, looking for moves and defending and, you know, lining things up, you know, couple corners in advance, analysing people's strengths and weaknesses, and it was just about getting on top of the car. And because I only did my odds test on May 26th, so it was like just shy of a week away from round number 1, and I had a single track day to get to grips with the C1. But no, I massively enjoyed myself. It's night and day in comparison to sim racing. You know, you can prepare for racing in real life on sims, definitely, but there's absolutely no comparing to being belted into the car to the point where you can't move, and just having that trust and just sending it. It's great fun. I enjoyed myself massively at Knockhill. No,
it was great to see you out there, Jack. And looking ahead to the next round of the Summer Cup, we're off to Snetterton. Is that track you're looking forward to getting behind the wheel of in this Audi car?
Yeah, I've raced at Snetterton at 300. I think it's the same layout that we're doing next time around. And it's good fun in these cars. There's going to be a lot of moves at the end of the straight there into that left-hander just before the bomb hole. But it's a track that, again, requires a lot of finesse, especially that long right-hander in the final sector. You're going to have to be careful on the right foot there, but it should make some great racing. I look forward to it.
Jack, thank you very much, and commiserations. Let's get you back onto the podium and maybe even that top step at Snetterton. Thank you very much for jumping in, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks, pal.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
And there you go. That wraps up tonight's SMRC eSports Summer Cup. Congratulations, Adam Brown, Reese Motorsport Insurance Driver of the Day. He takes away the accolade for that. And this has been Oulton Park. I've been Duncan, Vincent, the other chap. Where are you, Andy Alston? I hope you're still there. I think you are. We'll catch up with you guys in a couple of weeks when we go to Snetterton for the 300. Until then, I'll go and make sure my internet bill's paid. Thank you very much, and we'll catch up with you later on. Bye-bye.